Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the 16-ounce canvas video edition. That's right, it is season 16, and as you may recall, or maybe this is your first time joining us. Either way, thank you. Make sure that you like, subscribe down below. We are working to get all the archived episodes up here on YouTube, so I think people are really enjoying that as well. And if you're checking us out via our normal platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, iHeart, we thank you and we appreciate you. Remember to follow us, 16OZ Canvas, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now YouTube. And also wherever you want to listen, 16ozcanvas.com is the website. So we thank you once again for joining us. Season 16 is here. We're super excited. We can't believe that we've had this many seasons, this many episodes. And this episode is a special one. Daniel Endicott is this week's guest for episode 181. 181 is a prime number, which is exciting given how large a number it is. But as you'll see over my head up here, right there, is one of my favorite paintings. It's a Daniel original. And Daniel and I connected really from the early infancy of the project. It was recommended to me to check out Daniel's work. He and I started kind of engaging and interacting, and I was just a big fan of what he was doing, the labels, and being kind of in the Philadelphia, right outside in Ambler, PA. We really just kind of, hit it off. And he requested, obviously he immediately said that he would do it, but that we try to do the interview in person. And so that was really exciting. We met at the old Forest and Main offices, which is right across the street from the restaurant and their new space. And the day that we did our interview, they had just that week or recently gotten the sign off on the space, that location. So I got a tour of it, and every time I've been home to the Philadelphia area, I make sure to stop by. And the family, we've gone there, and the food and drinks and just experience was wonderful. So catching up with Daniel is, he's someone that I'm glad to call a friend because of this project. He's just a all-around good person. He's got, good energy and just really, working hard. And so it's exciting to catch up and see how far, the team there at Forest and Main has grown. There's some exciting new information that we share with this episode. And all in all, it's just, these are the episodes, and reason why we're doing season 16 is just to catch up with with folks like Daniel. So I hope that you enjoy this episode as much as I do. Like I said, it's a special one for me, and it's really just a great opportunity for me to celebrate, thank the many wonderful people that we've teamed up with over the years. Right, years is crazy to me. So that's just another wonderful opportunity for us here to do that. And we obviously look forward to getting together in person when it's possible. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have Daniel be part of our New Haven show back in 2017. So if you do have one of the shirts, you will see it says Endicott on there. But I love his work. I love what he's doing, and it's really just exciting to see how they've adapted and grown during these tough times. I also want to take a quick moment to again thank our sponsor for the month of January, Athletic Brewing. They're just a wonderful group of folks over there, and I'm just couldn't be happier for their continued success and growth. And one of the things we've kind of mentioning and hinting at in the past is the fact that in the month of February, which is when this episode is airing, February 2021, they will be releasing a non-alcoholic sour beer called Soul Sour. And why that's exciting is for many reasons. It was a dream or kind of a vision of two of the employees there to come up with this beer in celebration of Black History Month. And as part of that launch and kind of ideation was that the proceeds from that would go to an organization near and dear to my heart, Beer Culture, which, as you may or may not know, I am the managing director. Beerculture.com, culture with a K, because we're changing up the culture in the beer industry. And it's just a really wonderful thing because on top of that, we have interviewed Sam Kelly and Kevin Simo from Fairfolk, who's based in the Boston area, who does the labeling for Trillium and Athletic respectively. And they reached out and see if there's anyone that I would recommend, to do the labels. and we were able to connect them with Rachel and Ryan Adams, who are again another group of folks that are just near and dear to my heart. They were the wonderful artists. Ryan was who did the Be a Good Human glass that we had, and so just for it to come full circle, the label is incredible. It just brings together their two unique styles of art, and I think it's a really positive, thing, and the first of many more amazing things between beer culture and athletic brewing, and here over here at the 16-ounce canvas. So cheers, cheers to you. We thank you for listening, and again, check it out. 16OZ Canvas, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and if you're here, obviously YouTube and Forest and Maine, and make sure you follow along with my friend Daniel Endicott and all the wonderful people over there as they embark on some new and exciting adventures. Side note, fun fact you may have noticed, I think early video episode we did with Craig, we were talking about Santa and an awesome shirt that I was hoping to get. This is the shirt. It is amazing. It's probably one of my favorites. Chris Farley, Tupac, and Kurt Cobain. I mean, between the three of them, that kind of accounts for a lot of my younger days. As you can see from here, those are few and far between, but really loving it. Had to rock it and rep it. Rest in peace to all those pioneers and people who have impacted my life. So here we go, episode 181. Yes, it is a prime number. Think about it. See you next week, folks.
How have you been?
Yeah, I mean, we're okay. We've been pretty lucky. My dad in Philly just got over COVID, so
Wow.
that's been the biggest worry recently. But all things considered, my wife is a teacher and stuff. It's a little stressful, but we're getting there. How about you?
Can't complain, really. I mean, everyone's healthy and relatively happy. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I try to take the positives. Obviously, I would travel a lot for work, so I mean, there's been a good couple stretches because of my wife that I have had both boys home with me, and I don't know, it sucks some days, and I'm not a good teacher, but
right.
I don't know, just like kind of see when they get those moments, or like you have these like special things. I know you do stuff with your daughter, like it's just, I don't know, long term I'll remember that much more than any meeting or business trip I would have gone on.
Yeah, that's a very good outlook.
Yeah, because I can't do anything about it. So I mean, it's I mean, I have days where I'm losing my mind because like you're literally in where I'm at like day and night. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I mean, I don't think the three of us have been separate for more than a couple hours for the last year. So
it's like, oh, you want me to go to the supermarket? I'm in. All exactly. Right.
I'll run errands all day long.
Well, yeah. So this is just kind of a catch up. It's less formal, and I thought ways to connect and see people and see what you're doing, and just kind of, yeah.
How long has it been since we've spoken? When was that?
Well, I was looking it up. It was episode 24. But I mean, you were like the first person, one of the first people that were like, I love that idea. And I was like, really? Right. Okay. Yeah, all right. I mean, yeah, sure you do. Yeah. Yeah, episode 24. And yeah. You're like my early supporter. So so it's just cool. Every time I come to town, I like see how, I think when we first interviewed at the office, I think that day maybe you just closed on that big space, like within that week or something crazy.
Like that, yeah. So that was probably 5 years ago now, I think.
Yeah, well, yeah, you were about 4 years ago. So I mean, I think we went in there and it was just raw, and you're like, we just got the space, and you're like, and I was like, all right, cool. And then I came back and saw like next phase, and then the family went there for drinks and food, and
yeah, it's you wouldn't recognize the space now. It's full of empty cans and empty bottles and filled cans, and it's basically like a warehouse space now.
Yeah.
We haven't had any customers in since almost a year ago, so yeah. Then but our business plan has definitely shifted, our business model, I guess. So yeah, we're lucky that we had a canning line in place and space that we can store extra cans, which was always the problem before when that space was open for customers. So it's now just like a warehouse space, which is weird.
Yeah. Now, how is that for you? Like, how does it go like with brewing and just logistics now? Like how has that impacted with everything?
It's been huge. I mean, luckily, Brian, our brewer, has been real instrumental in figuring out ways to make more beers. And in some ways, the process of making the beers, I mean, I guess the brewing process is still the same, but it's simplified the flow. Whereas we used to have to wait for bright tanks to empty before we could fill them up with another one. And you're hoping you have a busy weekend so that you get that beer out of there. But now you fill the bright tank up, carbonate it, can it, it's empty, fill it up again. It's a much simpler way to plan for the brewing side of things. Just yeah, beers go in, beers go out, versus waiting around forever. So
Well, yeah, I mean, I think early on you would you wouldn't you just knew that you wanted to do beer and right, and I think that that was the thing. If I've folks who've been in the space, you kind of just like MacGyvered everything together. The lines going here and popping out over there, and so the idea that you can step back for a little bit and kind of come up with phase 2, 3, or 4, whatever this is, and but yeah, I think early on I was just like, this is what we want to do, and
that
we're
was
not sure how to do it. Yeah,
very accurate. I mean, we knew how to make beer, but that's about all we
yeah,
knew how to do at that point. We didn't know how to run a restaurant or a business, and yeah, but we got a bunch of big pots and pans, for lack of a better term, together and made some beer. But we're currently, if we talk in a week from now, I'd have a much more concrete answer or idea. But we're making a big expansion pretty soon, so it's kind of comical to go from that brewery to the one which we're hopefully putting a deposit on next week. Will be a computerized, state-of-the-art brewing system. So, going to go from one extreme to the other pretty quickly.
yeah, like yeah,
Yeah.
in a nice way. I don't associate you guys with technology. I mean, you
No,
guys are kind of grinders, yeah.
yeah, I feel like we'll be sort of imposters with this new brewery. It's like,
Yeah, no, that's exciting. Now, considering the amazing real, like your office, then you have the restaurant and the other like, where is this? Is it going to be across the street again? I mean, you guys have your
uh,
realtor is amazing.
we're running out of space on that corner, and actually, we no longer have that office. So I have a home office now that I work in, and Jared does the same at his place. We realized we were spending a lot of money on an office space that we didn't necessarily need, when both of us could do what we were doing there at home,
Mm-hmm.
which was nice because we had that in place like a year before the pandemic hit. So I think the last year would have been a lot more stressful had I not had this home space already set up
Mm-hmm.
and ready to go. But yes, we don't have that office space anymore. We just have the pub and the new space. But this new brew house would go. We're nothing signed yet, but we're again like about a week away from, hopefully, knock on wood, if all goes well, signing a lease on a building that's about a block north on Main Street. So we're staying on the same street in the borough, and it's a much bigger, 6,000 square foot warehouse with tall ceilings. It's traditional brewery, the American brewery that you know of.
Right. Yeah, I think that was another great thing. We done our interview with my family. We got to spend some time in the UK, and I thought like with the cask and everything. I thought of you like every stop. I was like, it just became like I mean they had great beers, but I was always just like the first beer I had no matter where we went was the cask like pull the day, and it was great. It was just great. It just kind of was a way to immediately kind of like transition into the culture or the bar or the neighborhood. It was great. They're like, "Oh, you're American, you're getting that," and I was like, I can get IPAs anywhere. I'm like, it's kind of weird you guys have these here. Like, I don't really want an IPA right now.
Yeah, whenever I'm over there, like we went over there last year, and Greg, who works for us, he knew I loved cask ale, but like I think for the whole week you were here, you didn't have a single beer that wasn't cask ale. That's just why you're there. Like you said, why drink anything else? Then
It was wonderful. I mean, it was great. Yeah, just going to see football, like just going to the pub and watching. Everybody's watching. And I know you guys have Eagles. People normal times watch the Eagles games, but
right.
It was wild because everyone is just cheering for the same team, and it was like this, like almost like utopian, like euphoria because that I was like, this is amazing. I was like, all right. So I'm like that. I might cheer. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm a Tottenham fan, but like I always think it's like,
Exactly.
yeah, we were in East Hackney, and it was just like it was great. Just walked and people were going crazy.
Not at all a sports person, but I can easily see how you get wrapped up in that, and it's
Yeah, it was just like okay, and everyone yeah, because usually sports is like button heads. I mean, I get they have a bad reputation sometimes, but it was great. Yeah, it was great.
one of my favorite memories from over in England. I was at the pub. This is when I was studying beer over there. We went to the pub at like 2 in the afternoon, I think. Had a beer or two, and then went somewhere else, and then came back. And in that time we were gone, a soccer game, football game that happened, and they came back from the football game, and the pub was like trashed. There had been a fight. Like it's just like totally different world. I mean, it was like it was crazy. But that's they just get so wrapped up in it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's beautifully concerning. So we're in your studio. This is where all the magic happens? So you kind of converted.
Yeah, so this is the attic of my house, which is unfinished. I guess like pretty much 2 years ago at this point. I drywalled it. It was already insulated and nice windows in there. So all I had to do was drywall, which is not to say it was a fun or easy project, but so I have one half of this, which is basically where I do all the label design and just art for fun. And then the other side, we have like a second living room where family can hang out, and which has been great for the past year, where my daughter can be over there and I can be working. She's doing either schoolwork or just playing. So yeah, having this at home has been, so valuable.
How's Daniel the homeschooler? How's that? How are you at the?
I'm not very good. Luckily, my wife has been doing that this year. I was in charge of that last spring. My wife was finishing up her own school. So she graduated in May. So I was full-time dad in charge of the virtual schooling last year, and I was not very good at it. But I know I'm not a good teacher. I don't have the patience for it.
Yeah, well, I trust them too much. Like my wife teaches 8th grade, so she she doesn't believe anything kids say, like in a nice way. But so she comes home and like checks my work that I check their work. So it's like a whole, because I'm like, oh yeah, you did that. And she's like, well, did you see this? Or on this screen he had this special class today. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's a lot. I have a newfound respect for teachers.
Yeah, we've kind of an agreement. Like it's not spoken, but if anything's like messed up or there's like so many passwords. So right. I'm the one who kind of falls on the sword with like, dear, Miss Welsh, I lost the password. My wife's like, I can't be embarrassed amongst a fellow teacher. I'm like, all right, well, I'll take it.
Do they go to the same district that your wife teaches at?
My oldest does now, but at a different school, but they at least get to they're in person 4 days a week. So they get to go to school together, which is really cool because she would kind of always leave before they would either get up or start their day. So he's not a morning person like his father. So he doesn't love that aspect of it, but they have their like music they listen to. They have like their little routine, they've been on a big Jason Isbell kick, and like they'll talk about the lyrics and stuff. So it's kind of cool.
Nice. That's great. Yeah, I miss drives with my daughter. Now it's just like, well, she's homeschooled now, but our bus stop is right outside the front door, so we haven't had a long morning drive together in a long time. But yeah, we'll get.
I do. Yeah, I appreciate that. Like I'll go to Fox Farm once in a while. And I mean, I didn't even get out of the car. And I probably told the story before, but it's just nice it feels normal to have to drive, like have a place to have to get to that's further away.
Yep.
That you can kind of dive into, a record and just kind of just feel normal for a little bit. Yeah.
Things we look forward to.
Yeah. I mean, the music, thankfully, music's helped get through it. And I bet for you too. So, yeah.
Are you doing any DJing at all, or?
Yeah, I have right like to my left over here. I have my turntables, and I try to do like a mix once a month, cool. And it's been fun, like a good outlet. So I've definitely gotten better in the last like year and a half. So when you guys open back up, maybe I'll be able to DJ dad bod it up is what I call it. DJ dad bod, yeah.
That's our crowd we're going for.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's been good. So, it's fun. So this is the space. Then all your photos of like the exposed wood and really like you're all like.
This is all wow. My photos for the pub or.
Well, just kind of in general over the years when you would show stuff, and I know there's a couple of videos of like you and your working on stuff. As you said, you put in the drywall, but it had more of like a much more like attic-y like house feel to it. So I'm impressed with your handiwork here. I am not a handy person.
Can't see all the flaws.
Oh yeah, I have these shelves up here. I'm super proud. Like because I was just staring at this wall, so I was like, I used the drill and I put them in. They haven't fallen yet. It's been a couple of months, so I'm like the little things. Yeah, we got one of your paintings up here.
I like that.
I love that. That's one of our like it's in our it's usually in our near our fireplace. Yeah, it's one of our favorites.
I'm honored.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So it's yeah, it's a very nice and bright space. You know, a lot
Yeah.
windows behind me, windows on the wall, boring stuff. But yeah, really nice and bright for working, and it's great. Have a whole nice workflow here, computer, and then just drafting table behind me. So everything I need is up here. Very convenient.
Mm-hmm. Now, with all the that with pushing out more beer now, I mean the amount of labels you're doing, and even the styles, of how your labels are looking, you've been trying some new
Yeah,
techniques and spacings, and I really it's really been exciting to see that. But that's one of the outputs of realizing that all this new beer means Daniel's got to come up with more work.
it's been definitely my busiest year. It's weird. You know, some people I feel like are less busy at work, but the last year was crazy for me. As a result of putting every beer into cans now, it's that many more labels I have to do. So I average about two a week, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So last year, it was like 110 new labels. But yeah, definitely, it's been cool. Jared and I were talking about this yesterday, where making that many more cans this year has kind of forced us to step back and look at these cans and the different families of labels that we have. So we've certainly kind of directed more styles of our brands, I guess you would say. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like our British style beers have kind of adopted this one style of label, and the IPA is a different one, and so we went from sort of a haphazard, just kind of make art and put it on cans, to just a more refined branding for different beer styles. So
Right,
it's been
because early on it would kind of play into you were creating a piece every day. Then you would say, okay, we have 10 beers coming up. These are the 10 things I have. And then, as it got to the end, you'd be like, well, round peg, square hole, this label for that. So are you creating your art are you creating labels specifically now with the beer in mind?
yeah, I mean, for some of them, they're much more specific than others, but definitely, I'm thinking of each beer when I make it. I mean, it's like we do roughly like an IPA a week, and in terms of the IPAs, I'm not as specific, but I know it's got a certain feel. It's usually brighter colors, a little more like psychedelic and just kind of fun. And then like for the saisons, I've been doing more pattern work and a little more like illustrator, graphic design feel to some of those. And then for the British style beers, like I was saying, that it's much more of like an abstract watercolor that's kind of collaged in Photoshop and turned into this. I call them like windows, like these little colorful glimpses on a starker background. So definitely thinking about specific beer when I'm making the art, and some of them more so than others. And the bottle labels still have much more of like a set kind of narrative feel to them. Although we're doing some are a little more like abstract watercolors these days, but yeah, we're still keeping the bottle labels a little different from the cans. So
now, yeah, that was where I was going to go. I remember you had this story that you wouldn't tell me, but is that still how is that? Is that still part of that?
Yeah, for sure, it's still happening. Right, certain. I think we've like fallen into doing a little more like we're like fruiting some beers a little heavier now, like some barrel aged saisons, and those kind of have a different feel. They feel a little more akin to like the cans, just like the abstract watercolor labels. But for more of our traditional saisons and barrel aged saisons, we're keeping like that narrative pen and ink watercolor feel to them. So yeah, it's sort of like the cans. Within the bottles, we've had a few different sub brands, I guess.
Yeah. Do you still have story to tell? Is
We
that?
do. We're still figuring out the story, but yeah, with each label puts it a little more under the microscope, and we figure out a few more characters and details. But yeah, we still don't know enough of the story to put it on paper yet.
Yeah. And I had the pleasure of eating at the restaurant. The food was amazing with my family, and we still talk about it. So that's high praise from a very critical Philadelphia family. So yeah. So one of the crazy things about you is you literally wear so many different hats of, in the, by choice, which is crazier. How is everybody doing? Kind of, how is, dealing with with multiple intertwined businesses during during a pandemic. I mean, how are you doing? Like just
It's good. I mean, I think it's forced us to streamline, or not streamline, but maybe define our roles a little more. Um, and another part of that is part of this expansion we're doing. Our brewer Brian has actually invested in the company, so now there are three of us, which is a big change for us. But we're really excited for that. We couldn't be happier about that. But it's in doing so, we have a new business plan and all that, so we've kind of defined our roles a little more.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's been good. It's been busy, but like a different type of busy. Where when the restaurant and bar was open, it was there were problems would come up that you never expected. Friday night or the weekend, or whatever. But now it's sort of just like, all right, we're releasing these beers this week. We know what the label looks like. We can get a description for the beer. We want to post about it on Tuesday or whatever.
Mhm.
And the most unexpected thing is just like, oh, cans or labels didn't show up when we thought they would, which is an easy problem to deal with. So yeah, it's made our lives much more regimented and structured, which is nice. As much as we like the fly by the seat of our pants, that's gotten us this far, but it's nice to have things a little more spelled out and predictable.
Yeah, they say what the first year or two of like any new business, that's make or break, and so you just do what you had to do to get there, and here we are, years later, and I don't know, you're growing up, Daniel. I don't know what to say. Yeah.
All right, I know it's weird. It's really weird, but I've settled into this nice routine. I really enjoy it. Just,
Yeah, I see like a couple you up there like a pipe. I feel like yeah, like just like yeah, yeah.
I should have my dog sleeping behind me. It's very peaceful.
At your feet. Yeah. Now, were you impacted at all by the aluminum? I mean, the aluminum shortage, which everyone just kind of talked about.
Luckily, so far we haven't been. I mean, and that's probably a result that we're ordering a little more in advance now. But like right now, we're waiting on a shipment of cans for next week, which hopefully they show up. So it definitely impacts us a little bit. Like we were going to can a saison, I guess yesterday, but the saisons all get can conditioned, so it's like a 2 week at best lead time until that beer is ready to sell. But we decided to not can that so that we have those cans for next week in case things happen. So it is affecting us a little bit, but not like, I think we're in a nice little middle ground where we're not ordering so much that it's hard to fulfill our order. I think we get like the trickle down from some of the bigger orders. So I know some other big breweries that are bigger than us have been affected more so than us.
Okay.
But knock on wood, luck, hasn't hit us too hard yet. But we'll see. Yeah, I mean, that's like our lifeblood right now. If we can't put beer in cans, it would not be good.
Yeah. Now, how are you getting it to the people? Is it curbside, or is there delivery options?
We
What's it
were
look like in that
started
area?
with delivery like I think the Tuesday after the weekend that everything shut down, we heard back from the PLCB that we could legally deliver beer, and we had two guys on staff at the time that were huge for getting that up and running. So we got the website running, and then started selling beer that Tuesday, and it was wild for like the first month or two of shutdown. They were delivering two people like 4 days a week delivering, um, and it just crushed any expectation we had for how much beer we would sell through that route. Since then, that's kind of trickled down as the weather warmed up and people were more comfortable going to like curbside and all that. So now we're doing 90% curbside, and we deliver 1 day a week. So we're doing deliveries today,
Mhm.
uh, and then we do a farmers market on Saturdays in Philly. So still just kind of we're not doing any in-house pours. We haven't done that since last March, and all just to go. So it's
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah, we're Connecticut slow to adapt, but we've got some deliveries, but it's not everybody does it, and it's been good. And some states, some breweries can ship to us, some can't. I mean, I think everybody can, but it's just a pain in the ass. I think with how Connecticut does it with each SKU and how you register everything, it's like a huge undertaking. So a lot of people just said they're just not going to do it.
It was huge when I guess whenever UPS decided they were going to ship beer, and it's like every brewery is shipping to PA now. You know, Trillium, other half, Aslan, I think the Vale's even shipping to PA now. So yeah, it's definitely changed the business plan for a lot of breweries, I think.
Yeah, we've been
See how
getting.
long it continues after things really open up, but I don't know why these breweries would stop doing it. It's like, you know, another way to sell beer. So
Yeah, I'm gonna plan when I visit my family in Philly. It's gonna like because I can't. I'm just gonna have it shipped
yeah,
to my dad's house and tell him it's for him, and then siphon off my cut. Yeah.
there you go. Yeah, so I think we're hoping to start shipping beer at some point. Just have to figure out the logistics of packaging and all that. But
As someone who's beer traded, it's a pain in the ass, and I think there's like some shippers you can get. I know
yeah,
second shift in Missouri does it, and they use like the whale shippers, and it's like pretty
right.
clean.
Yeah, for us, it's like the website side of it that we have to wrap our heads around. I mean, none of us are really IT guys, and it's like right now we have a website set up to do deliveries and online orders. So to add that in, just, yeah, it's a little logistical nightmare that we have to figure out, but we'll
Yeah.
get there.
Now you mentioned the new space. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm thinking big walls, murals. Like
We have one big wall for a mural, I think. We're still wrapping our heads around what the actual space layout will be like. I mean, strangely enough, there won't be that many walls. There'll be a couple big walls, but a lot of them will just be behind brewing equipment. So Jared and I were actually talking about this yesterday. We won't have that much space for murals or artwork, but we do have one nice wall on the entryway that we'll put something fun.
Mhm.
So we're always known for our bathrooms, so there'll be some fun artwork in the bathrooms.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully
Now,
people don't steal.
will you keep the restaurant and the main space as well? So
The restaurant, and we haven't formally announced this, but I'm comfortable saying it on here. The restaurant, we're not going to reopen the restaurant, um, so which is a big change for us, you know. But having gone a year now without the restaurant, our business is in a better place than it ever was with that open. So we're not, you know, I think we're going to keep the pub or the new space, one or the other. But so lots of decisions to be made. But
yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be weird whatever happens. But yeah, so we, you know, once we officially sign the lease on a new space, on a new space, then we'll be able to start making decisions about what's going to happen. But until then, you know, we'll see.
So with brewing so many beers, is there any new styles or things that you've always wanted to do now that are you can kind of
For sure. I mean, we made our first lager, which was huge for us. You know, I guess it's been 9 years of brewing beer, almost 9 years open. We've never had a lager, but Brian was instrumental in making that happen. Very passionate about that, and
well,
yeah, you know, our second batch of lager. So we're doing like we call it our house lager, which hopefully will just be available year round in cans and on draft once draft gets back. So the second batch of that, then we did another lager we called Field Lager, which is made with local malt. But both phenomenal beers in my opinion. I'm really proud of them. And yeah, so lagers have been huge for us. We're actually selling a lot more of the British style beers these days, which is surprising. I don't know what's changed, but you know, we're selling more of those. And I don't know if you saw, we're doing those like the bag in a box beers, which is pretty cool. So it's a 5 liter kind of like wine in a box bag type thing, and sort of mimics the cask ale experience at home. So it's very low carbonation, serve it a little warmer. But those have been huge. Like people have really enjoyed those. So we do about 50 of those every time we can up a bitter or a pub ale that we call them. And yeah, you just set it on your countertop or your basement steps or whatever, and you have like 10 pints of cask ale at home. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I have one right here. Yeah,
Yep.
see this thing? Yeah.
Yeah, those guys out at Primitive, they were great. We picked their brains before we jumped into it, and they were very helpful. And
There's good people. We work with them through beer culture. It came in the mail from Colorado. Yeah, and so it's exciting. They had sent me one when we first teamed up, and it's in the fridge, so it's not perfect, but I
yeah,
was like, I didn't know what to do with it at first, but once it warms up a little bit, it really It's really all. I mean, it's just I don't know. People, I just love innovation. I think when people are creative and everyone's heard the joke of box of wine, but like in reality, that really has been monumental and some cool stuff, right?
Exactly. I mean, I think that the reason it's a joke is like you just don't get really good wine in
Right.
boxes. Is that, you know, but in terms of it's a great way to serve it. Um, I think it's akin to like how people thought cans were bad for beer at first, but then they realized it's actually a better way to serve packaged beer.
Yeah. It's even just logistically stacking them in a truck. It's just you
Yeah,
get more space. Yeah.
yeah. I think there's been a lot of innovation that's come out of the pandemic that I'm curious to see how it holds on when things return to normal, whatever that is.
Right. Whatever
Yeah,
that is.
I think there's been innovation in terms of packaging and distribution, like we were just talking about deliveries and everything, and yeah, just business models. I think a lot's going to change.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, it's good to be able to find positives out of a dark time. One of the
Yeah,
ones I've seen on the flip side is like 4 ounce cans. Have you seen those? You
I
can
have.
make
Yeah.
like huge beer, like huge stouts
Yep.
of those. Like I love that idea.
That makes sense. I mean, we've done a few imperial stouts that, aside from a sip on canning day, I haven't had. 'Cause it's just like it's a 16-ounce can in my basement, and I don't want to open a 10-ounce beer or 10. I'm sorry, 10% beer. But yeah, if it was a 4-ounce can, I'll have that. So yeah, I think that's great. Although the logistics of packaging a 4-ounce can, makes
Oh,
me
yeah,
shudder.
labeling and
Like
everything.
that many more
Machines
cans.
aren't, yeah, machines aren't calibrated for that, but
Yeah. So
we'll figure
that,
out a way. Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, we're working today. We're bottling up a test batch of we call them soft seltzers, so non-alcoholic, lightly carbonated, kind of like sodas, for lack of a better term. But even that, we're doing these 12-ounce clear bottles, and like the number of bottles, have we done it in a 750? It's just like so many more bottles that we have to fill and cap and all that. But we're really excited for those. I mean, we're big seltzer fans, non-alcoholic seltzer.
Hmm.
So Jared makes these really cool, just like lightly acidic, really fruity, kind of carbonated beverages at home. So we're excited to get those in packages and see how they do with the market. So we're missing dry January by a few few
Yeah,
weeks, but
I'm finishing up. When this airs, I'll be done. But yeah, it's been good.
that's the farce main way. We're always like a month late, and so
That's no. I think that market is not going anywhere. I think it's especially.
exactly, yeah. So,
I mean, I know it's for active people, but I think where people can't go to the gym and stuff, they can have a drink and not feel like they feel fat or whatever. So that's been good. Yeah, it's been good. I just do. I mean, I usually do it with the gym. It's kind of a cheat code for the holiday fun, but it's more of it's like a mental clearing thing. I don't think it made me any feel less stressed though. So in hindsight, I'm gonna watch the classic Cinderella and be like, ready? All right, here we go.
right. Yeah, but it's good to just make yourself be a little more mindful of what you're doing, and you know,
Yeah, I'm older now. I just think beer's an important part of my life, but I think that it's if you let it get to if you an unhealthy relationship with it, then it doesn't.
yeah,
I have to be mindful with the kids, right? Like
yep,
I have all this beer on the house, and if they told somebody that, if I think I was drinking all these empty cans, or all this beer art, and people calling my dad all the time. It's like, all right, what I mean? Social services might show up and be like, can we have a little talk?
yeah. As a brewer, I'm always hypersensitive. I did a career day last year for daughter's school, and I was like, I can't like I don't want it to be about beer. Like there's such a stigma. I don't know, talking to first grade kids about beer. So I had them design a label for a seltzer can, or no, a bottle of water. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm just like I'm probably way too sensitive to like other parents, being critical. It's probably mostly in my head, but it's
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely. I mean,
yeah,
you're an entrepreneur who had an idea and went for it, and I think that's what we're taking away from these
exactly.
unique journeys. I think that whatever the normal job is nowadays is kind of gone. I think that's awesome.
I think Astrid, my daughter, 7 years old, she doesn't really even know what alcohol is. She knows dad makes beer and drinks beer, but she has no concept of like alcohol affecting you mentally, physically, or anything. The other day, we keep our seltzer out in the garage, and she said, "Can I get a can of seltzer?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, go get one." But she went. There was also a case of Truly, which my wife drinks, next to it. So it's like 8:30 in the morning. She comes back in and she's so proud. She's like, "Yeah, I got Mom a can of seltzer too." I was like, "Oh, that's nice of you." And then my wife sends me a text and she's like, "She brought me a Truly." I was like, 8:30 in the morning. Our daughter was walking back in.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like, she thinks it's just seltzer. So.
Comes across like the classroom check-in. It's like, "Oh yeah, I got it. Run seltzers." And it's like, yeah. That's my favorite when my boys are home. The second grade teacher, her patience level is amazing. She's always so chipper. Either she's like so happy, like, oh, my children, it's so great. And I was like, "You're amazing." I send her emails every once in a while and just say nice things to her. I'm like, "You're just incredible."
Yeah, I don't know how they do it.
It's just like, and she was like, "Can we please mute our computers, everyone?" And kids are just like, like I know the rules now. Like, don't bring anything. If you want to show something, it has to be next to you. Kids like will leave and they come back. My son will walk in. I'm like, "You're in class." He's like, "Oh yeah, yeah."
Wow.
So are you? We're in your studio. Are you still traditional, or have you dabbled a little more digital? What's
doing a little more digital, but I think that's by default. I mean, just trying to get like a little more variety in the labels,
Mhm.
and yeah, something new. I've always enjoyed putting restrictions on myself as a way of like finding a new mode of creation. So whether it's like giving yourself a new tool or taking another tool away, um, I find it forces your brain to think outside the box. So doing a few labels completely digitally has kind of opened up some new pathways for me. But for the most part, I'm still 100%, or not 100%, still mostly making art on the table back there and then bringing it into the computer.
Mhm.
Doing some kind of, I call them digital collages, where I make, I think I was doing this at the time for a few labels when we talked a few years ago, kind of make a bunch of color swatches with watercolors and then import them, cut them up, and kind of paste them together in different shapes, and whether it's more of an illustrative thing or just a completely abstract thing. But yeah, just different tools for different labels, and certainly finding. I've learned a few more tricks. We're doing with the website for online sales. I had to learn more making like composite, so it's like a digital mock-up of the cans, so they all look the same.
Oh.
Background. It's pretty wild what you can do. Where it has like a 3D model of the can, and then you slap the sticker on it all digitally, and it wraps it around and creates shadows and everything. So it saved me a lot of time. I was trying to figure out how to get a nice perfectly white background with the camera. I was like messing with lights and everything, and just like this, 2 minutes on the computer, and you have a mock-up now. That's clearly not a real can, but suffices for online.
Yeah, that whole like learning that when people are like, "Oh, I made this logo," then they would show you 10 renderings of it as a sign and a shirt and all this, and I was always like, "What?" Yeah, and so it's I forget what Adobe program it is, but the 3D rendering stuff is pretty amazing.
Yeah, very cool. So yeah, some new digital tricks like that. Trying to for the soft seltzer labels I was talking about, we're trying to have a very different, much more graphic design feel for that. So that's taking me outside of my comfort zone a little bit, in terms of doing like a label fully designed in Illustrator, just like shapes and all that. So still not 100% finished or happy with it, but it's been fun to learn new skills like that, for an old dog.
Yeah.
So.
Every time I talk, yeah, your tool belt just gets bigger, but
Yeah, right. The trouble is remembering the stuff once I learn it.
Yeah, well, that's neither here nor there. I always just I save every file pretty much, and try to just remember something I did that's similar, and we start from there, which has been good. Yeah. But you've done, I mean, I wouldn't say you do a lot, but you've probably done maybe a couple labels for other people. That had to be weird. I mean, let's be, yeah.
and I'm actually I'm starting to do some labels for a local coffee roaster. Um, Working on that next week, I think. But yeah, it's weird because I've created my own style for Forest Domain, which is really just a result of the way I make art, you know, without thinking of it being a brand. But now that I'm doing a few projects for other people, it's like, well, how do I make this distinct from Forest Domain, even though it's my hand? Still doing it, and yeah, I think that's where those digital tricks kind of come in, and different color palettes, different mediums and techniques really helps.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's another way to kind of like step back and look at your work, and it's very challenging but very rewarding.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I know for me, like, mental health has been like, we've had some tough days with all this going on. You've always had kind of a good process with your art. Do you think that's helped kind of be, kind of normalize all of this for you? Because it was always part of your routine anyway.
I think so, but that's also not to discount the fact that there were some pretty rough and dark patches, throughout the last year. Nothing terrible, but yeah, it definitely. I think like last spring was difficult with being homeschooling, and just the prospect of having to shut down everything and lay off 10 employees,
Hmm.
permanently, pretty much, was obviously not fun. So yeah, the routine I think has been very helpful. I'm also good or maybe bad that I don't show the. I tend to only like show the positive stuff on Instagram and um, make it seem real rosy and whatnot. But yeah, there were some tough times, um, but I do think having a clear job to do every day helps. Just kind of it's like I need to get this label done by Thursday, whether I'm feeling good or feeling bad. I have to get off to the printer. So yeah, that's been helpful.
Now, your art is always pretty vibrant. I think that's like, like, does does that come into play at all? Like, if it's a shitty day, like does
Yeah,
that?
for sure. It's that much more difficult to make that vibrant kind of outwardly happy piece. But and that's where I think like right when the pandemic kind of started and we shut down, I remember talking to Jared. I was like, what do I even like? Anything I put on a label right now feels wrong. It just feels like I don't know. No one wants to see this weird, colorful thing on a label. It's what do we do? Um, what can we make that's not a commentary on being alone or being stuck at home? Um, and I remember for the first time we decided to use a photograph on the label, and it was a picture of the cherry blossom tree that's out front of the pub, and it's just like so there were times like that where it didn't feel right to make any bright and cheery artwork, but it did feel right to kind of like take this bright and cheery photo of a place that we all love and miss at the time and put that on a can. But yeah, there have been times, and you know, I don't need to say that the year has been weird for everyone, but with the political unrest, the protests, and everything, there were quite a few times where it was just like, what the hell? What can we put on a can that feels right? That's not saying something we don't want to say or
Mhm.
painting too rosy a picture of the world. So yeah, there've been some big challenges, but um, Jared's very good at putting words to images that fit the mood. Um, so very thankful to be working with him, and I always bounce stuff off him, and he just has a knack for saying the right thing or picking the right picture at the right time. So definitely good teamwork there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that we're even cognizant of that and thinking like, not only are you trying to survive as a business, but we want to make sure we're respectful of the greater community. I mean, that's one of the things I've always admired about, you guys in the business is you're in that community. You really feel that, the experiences that it's very, it's more than just beer. It has everything seems very deliberate. I think downplays it, but just it's very thoughtful. And I think yeah, that makes sense. I'm not surprised to hear that. You've always been a deep thinker in a good way.
Like yeah, keep trying.
Yeah, that's all we can do today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But
Yep.
you you mentioned photography. You shared that a little bit with some, with the world. Are you you still shooting as much, or are you still?
Yeah, I mean, I was just outside taking photos, or I had my daughter taking photos. I trained her to be a little photo assistant, you know. But yeah, I've really expanded that side of things over the past year. We now, I mean, I've done the photography for the brewery for, I guess, our whole lifespan, 9 years now. And gotten slowly more and more into it. You know, purchase cameras, purchase new lenses. Um, Now with the space being closed to the public, I was able to, and with us doing more regular beer releases and new cans every week, I decided to set up like ordered some backdrops and got some professional lights. So I have a pretty cool little like photo studio set up there on the stage where we used to have live music. And it's been great. I have a good friend, you know him, Nick,
Yeah,
who is doing the Amazon Prime series about us.
yeah,
Uh, he's a professional photographer and has just kind of shown me the way to get better photos and better equipment, and it's fun. He and I try and sneak off every now and then to go have fun photo shoots, beer or people, you know. But he's just been great. He's opened me up to these new, not new, to vintage lenses. So they're really cheap on eBay, and you get an adapter to use with your digital camera,
mm,
and they just capture light differently, and they've been a lot of fun. Just you know, doing more photography for the brewery, and and also that was weird. Just trying to shift from all of a sudden we're trying to take photos to lure people in to the not lure people to attract people to come to the brewery, drink beer on site, you know, whatnot. But now it's like on a dime. It was kind of like, how do we get people to want these beers? You know, we can't highlight the place anymore. It's just like it's strictly about getting these beers to go home, um, and then also like convey a little bit more of the like if your only route to people is Instagram or Facebook, how do you like keep them engaged with the brand? So that's been an interesting challenge. Just how do you show the culture of the place without people coming into it? So
yeah.
been a fun challenge for sure.
Yeah, it's been, yeah. Even that, like some days I'm just like, I can't. I don't think the post. I don't know. I just kind of sometimes like you're saying before. I force myself to put stuff out there, but I'm just like, I don't know. I felt it was good to go to the holidays. I was just like, I'm taking a break. I'm taking a couple weeks. It just, it was just kind of nice. I mean, this isn't my full time thing, but
Exactly.
I love it so much. But sometimes it's like I was up till like 3 o'clock in the morning last night trying. I started this video thing. I don't really know what I'm doing, so I use a few programs. And the video that came out today, there's like a little piece that's not right, and I couldn't fix it. And finally, I was like, well, that's it.
That's it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I said to my wife, I was like, I'm not Martin Scorsese, I'm not Steven
Right.
Spielberg. Like,
Exactly.
this is kind of a vulnerability. So yeah, it's great.
I'd like to consider like this is the best I can do now, but I'll
Yeah,
improve. You know. Um,
it's literally a snapshot, right? We're talking about photos, and I
yeah.
think even that, like, I found all these, and I keep putting them together. I have all these old rolls, and I don't know what's on them. And I know I probably should go get them developed. I've told you before, I don't trust the stoner kids at Walgreens to do it. So I'm trying to find like a proper place. But I think in a way, I don't really want to get what's on there. Like I think the idea they could be anything because I don't know what year they're from, what point in my life. So for me, it's like when I see them, they could be anything. I'm excited about that.
That's cool. I actually just started shooting film too. I'm gonna find some place to mail it away, so I'll let you know when I find it.
I found one place. I think I might just send them one roll and see how it goes. Because that's my
Yeah.
other fear. Like they're gonna like get email, dear sir, sorry about that. Here's your $9 back. And I'm like, that's not, then it's not worth the $9. Yeah.
All right. But yeah, I do like the idea of not ever developing film. That's kind of funny, funny concept. Just taking pictures but never seeing them.
Well, yeah, because when I do these, I realize I'm not always, if I have a story I really like, I tell it more than I probably should. And I keep saying I got to do it. And yeah, maybe, I don't know when, but
Yeah.
the Walgreens guy always kind of has me a little worried. They're like, oh, I don't know, man. I don't know what film. I was like, uh oh. So, one and a half more questions. You're always a music guy. I mean, I think one of the bands you played early was King Gizzard, you know, and that's which is really cool. That comes up a bunch. I've had that recommended at least half a dozen times on episodes. So it's kind of a nice like Daniel's ahead of his time. Um,
I've had people that are ahead of me that I follow.
yeah. So what are we listening to these days? Or kind of I know you play in the house band. You know when you can.
Hasn't played for a year now, but yeah, sadly, I think the last time I played was like last October. Maybe we practiced a few times after that, but man, I've been pretty bad with new music lately. I don't know, just in a rut. I think it's a.
Or yeah, not nothing new. I'm not looking for you to be Casey Kasem over here. I'm just like, yeah, what are you listening to?
Yeah. Today I was listening to, or this morning, do you know the Pellicle, the magazine, the UK magazine?
Mm-hmm.
They just released a playlist from Corey, the beer photographer, BK beer guy, or used to be that. Now lives.
Corey Smith.
Yep, now lives in
Copenhagen.
Okay. He put together a really nice playlist of just kind of ambient, kind of spacey music that I was really enjoying.
Oh, good, but, folks. He's a previous guest, so go through the archive. Right.
But another band I've been really into lately is Beak, BEAK, and then I think it has the greater sign, Beak greater than.
Super easy to find and marketable. Whoever thought that idea?
I think I'm pretty sure he was the drummer for Portishead.
Oh, okay.
It's drum, guitar, bass, or no, drum, bass, and then guitar. One guy plays guitar, keyboards, and it's really cool, spacey vocals, but just great kind of background music. That's not just pure spacey ambient.
Yeah.
So really enjoy them.
Do you listen to Krungbin? Do you know them?
Yeah, I enjoy them a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, they're once we got turned on to them, that was that's good. And then Camp, it's like 2 A's, CA. When we say it to Alexa, it's like Camp. Yeah, but they're more like bluegrassy, kind of like stripped down. I really like those. And then obviously the Fish and the Dead are pretty regulars, and then Jason Isbell is probably another fallback for us. So.
Familiar with him, I'll have to check him
Yeah,
out.
it's like maybe 3 or 4 piece, but it's like pretty. It's kind of like Ray LaMontagne meets like the Brothers, but like early Ray LaMontagne where he probably smoked like a lot and had like a really grainy voice.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Got John Prine this year, unfortunately, after he passed away, but I never really listened to him much, but I've enjoyed him lately.
Yeah, you realize like how much they like you can see the connection points where how they impact other people.
Yeah,
or
I love that.
Well, that's your song. Okay, cool. And it's like, yeah.
Yep.
Music's been the steady. But yeah, Daniel, I just can't thank you enough. I mean, for the last couple of years, I mean, when we started this idea, you were probably one of the biggest supporters with it's and how much you shared and listened and were part of it. So it's just great to catch back up. Obviously, it's not how we're going to do it, and we keep missing each other in 3D. But I keep you in high regards. Anything I could ever do for you or Forest and Maine, yeah, it's a no-brainer. I think the world of you.
Oh, thank you. Likewise, AJ, and hopefully we'll hang out in person soon somewhere.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. Yeah.
One way or another. But yeah, you'll always have a home down here. So next time you're down.
Yeah. Every time I talk to you, a new place, so I might have to space it out. We're gonna have a real estate mogul, but
yeah. Hopefully, knock on wood, come this fall, we'll have a new space, and the world will be back to normal. So we'll see.
I look forward to it, and we'll bring the family, the extended Philly family, and everybody will come. And yeah, so anything I can do, but just know we're thinking of you, and please, be safe, and yeah, tell everybody we said hello.
Likewise, AJ. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right, see ya.
Cool.